Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel. I have this cute little folio that I designed for Country Craft Creations, created out of one sheet of cardstock, out of brown artisan cardstock. I have a tutorial for you on how I made it, so stay tuned. For this one cardstock sheet folio, I'm going to be using the brown artisan cardstock. So I have one sheet here, and I'm going to be using the leftover papers that I had left from my last project design team package, Home on the Farm by Heartfelt Creations. So I have one full sheet left, and then this packet of scraps. So that's what I'm going to be using for this project. Of course, my adhesives. I'm going to be using some art glitter glue, maybe some score tape, and for sure the base of it is going to be made out of one sheet. So that's why it's called a one sheet cardstock folio. So let's get started. To make the base, take your 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, put it in your scoreboard, and across the top here we're going to score. On this side we'll make a score at 4 1/8. And I'm going to score twice to make sure that I get it. So 4 1/8. Well, I keep jumping out. 4 1/8. 2 scores, and I'll build that out. 4 1/8 by, and then another 8 1/4 right here. 8 1/4. Then we're going to turn this to the left, just one turn. And on this side, we're going to score 3 1/2, 3 1/2, and 9. So do 2 scores on that. And we can put our scoreboard up for now. Put this up, and then we'll need our scissors because we're going to do some cutting out. Now what we're going to cut out is the 4 outer squares, okay? So I'm going to fold this up to make it easier for you to see. Go ahead and burnish that on all the score lines. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better that way. Let's turn it this way. And one more. So go ahead and you're going to cut these out. Now you want to cut to the left of this line here, right along that line. You don't want to cut in the ditch. You want to make sure we cut out enough. So we cut there, and then we turn and we cut here just to the outer edge. Now if you have a sliding trimmer, you'd probably do this in that if you wanted to. I'm just going to make sure I get it cut all the way. And kind of look at it and see if I did cut to the outer edge of that score line right there. Okay, save these pieces because we can make tags or pockets, whatever we need to make out of those. So this one here, I'm going to cut to the inner edge here. I know it's a little hard to see with the dark brown. And then to the inner side here. And just make sure it comes all the way out. Okay. And then these two here. any sticking out or pieces sticking out. Cut those away. Want it nice and clean. Okay, and one more. Okay, so now we have this looking like this, and we want to turn it so that a 4-inch section is to our left. So take my ruler and look it over, and this is my 4-inch. So it is wider than this, so that when this folds up, this right one folds in, this one folds over, that it folds properly. So foam folder, I'm going to burnish it some more. Okay, now these we're going to fold to the back. Both of these bottom ones to the back. And this will become this. Let's double check. I'm going to leave, let's see. I get confused sometimes. This to this. Okay. I want this one in, this one, and then these like that over it, because that will become the outside of our folio. I'm going to put string closures here. So we have a top flap, a bottom flap, a left flap, and a right. So that's what we've got right now. So it closes like this, this, up, and down. So that's a little folio, and then we're going to cut pattern papers for it and make some other elements here for it that goes inside. So that's your base of your little folio, your little 1 cardstock sheet folio. Take 2 of your leftover pieces and cut these down to 3.5 by 3. And these are going to make little pockets here, but we're going to make some little hinges, little gussets for them on the side. Then we're going to take this one here, another piece, and I cut it down to 3 by 4. You want to trim down any of the scoring ridges that you might have. Now this fits right in here. I'm going to make a hinge for that. I'm going to add a flap there. Okay, so we're still using the same cardstock, and we have this one piece left. So take your trimmer, and I'm going to put my shorter side in at the top, and I'm going to cut into 1-inch strips to make let's make little hinges. So I'm trying to think if that's how wide I want them. I want it to be 1/4 inch. Let's make 3/4 of an inch strips. 3/4 of an inch strips. Get 1, 2, 3, and 4. Might get one smaller one. This one's a little smaller. We're going to keep that because we could probably fold that, and I have some other scraps left here that cut down. So these are like 1/2 inch. We're going to set those aside. So I am not using my scoreboard on these. I'm just going to fold these in half. Just match them up. They don't have to be totally perfect, and just burnish like this to get your little hinges here. Okay, so I'm going to fold all these. If you wanted to do this with some of your scraps of pattern paper, you could do that too. So 4 there. Okay, so on this pocket, I'm just going to lay this on here and take my scissors. It's hard to see, I know, but just put your scissors up against it and make a cut. And you need 2 of those for each pocket. So that's for this side. We'll do this one here. Should do it the right direction. Did I mess it up on this one? Okay, this works. Okay. So I'm just making this as I go. And you can do that. You can make your flaps however you want. You can make pockets, whatever you feel like you want in your little folio. But I think this is going to work really cute. So I'm going to cut this one the same here. And with our pattern papers, just gives us a way to make a little folio and use up some of our papers. Okay. We don't need those little bitty tiny ones. So take your pocket and lay it down and see where it's going to go. And I'm just going to glue the hinge on because I might want my pattern paper to go behind where the pocket is. So I'm going to take my glue just on one side of the little hinge. Put some glue and then glue this to the two of them to the same side. You want your, let me make sure I'm in camera here. You want your fold to the outer edge. And you don't want it extending beyond each end here. Let me grab my mat here. I didn't put my bigger mat on. I don't want to get glue on my table here. So let's lay this out like this. So burnish that on. We'll put the other one here. Make sure the fold goes to the outer edge of your little pocket. Now it's going to be flat on the bottom. We're going to just glue that part straight down. We don't have to put a hinge on that. We just want the hinge to give us a little extra room for the pocket. Just not totally flat. Laying there. And if this sticks out a little bit, just trim that off. Okay, so this is going to go here on this side. I'm just going to get me a paper clip to keep it in place until I decide on my pattern papers. So right here. And then this one over here, we'll do the same thing. We're going to put our little hinge on each side. This one's picked up the wrong one, so this one's a little bit long. Fold goes to the outer edge of your pocket. And trim that off if you need to. And then this one again, the glue just on one side. And the fold toward the outer edge. And trim that off if you need to on that end. Okay, so there's that pocket that's going to go right here. Okay, now this flap up here, I have the 1/2 inch strips, but I can still make a hinge out of those, out of one of these. So I'm just going to fold it in half. It's going to be a really skinny little hinge, but it will still work. Or, as I said, you can use some of your pattern paper. And this one doesn't quite go the whole length of this flap, but it's still going to work. So just along the top edge, put the hinge, the folded part towards the top edge. And I'm just going to center it because it's a little shorter. Burnish it on. And then that is the flap that's going to go here at the top. Okay, so now we have our pockets made and our flap for the top. And so now we're ready to cut some pattern papers for everything like this. Oops. This is going to go in. Pay attention to how I'm going to go, just like that. And then it'll have a string to wrap around it. And we may or may not need those, so I'm just going to set those aside. Okay, so now I'm ready to get my pattern papers and decide how I'm going to put all that together. I've gone through all my scraps of the Home on the Farm Heartfelt Creations paper collection that I had left over. For each section, I've cut it down 1/8 of an inch shorter in height and 1/8 of an inch shorter in the width. So I'm not going to give all those measurements. Your scraps are going to be different. You may even have to piece some of them. But what I did do is refold this folio. So let me open it up. See, I've got everything clipped. I don't want to lose where I've planned things. But we're going to put your shortest flap here at the top in the center. And so you have the wide one here. That puts your wide flap here, the widest one here on the right. So I think initially I told you to put that on the left, but I've changed that. So keep your, see, one's 4 and one's, maybe I had it right. Let's see. Is this the 4-inch section? Yes. Change that to keep your 4-inch section to the right. So I will change that on my notes here. So we do that right. So we have the 4-inch wide section here and this one here. So this is going to be our flaps. So when these fold back here, this will be a bottom flap on the outside and this will be your top flap. So I've put the add-on flap here on this inside piece here, and a pocket here and a pocket here to just make it fit better. So this folds up like that. So I'm going to work on the front here first, where I have these, now have these flaps on the front. So here on this piece, I am going to be adding a circle that I punched out with my 3/4 inch punch. You could use a 1 inch. I did a punched out of my colors, and then a scrap, and then of a little piece with some flowers on it, sunflowers on it. So these are the pieces I'm going to put here. I'm going to take this loose for right now. Okay. I'm going to open this up so it lays a little flatter, hopefully. Anyway, this piece here is what's going to go here. And I'm going to go ahead and ink it. I'm going to use Archival in Wild Honey. And I'm just going to ink all the edges when I go to glue it down. So you're just going to have to look at your scraps, what you've got left, what goes together good. I liked this one with the sunflowers here and then this piece of it down here. So I'm going to put my circle here about the center. What I'm going to go ahead and do is glue the cardstock one and the patterned circle together. I just wanted a little. So go ahead and glue your two circles, your cardstock circle and your patterned circle together. Make sure they line up. Press down on that so they can dry. And then here I'm going to just place it where I think I want it to be. Looks like about 3/4 from the bottom, centered. And I'm going to punch a hole with my bigger hole punch on my crocodile. I'm just going to eyeball it and center it. Okay, so that's going to be for an eyelet. So I have a gold one here. I'm going to drop that in. Okay, so there it is. Don't have it quite perfectly in the center, but I'm okay with it. It's going to be okay. So we're going to glue this on here to the front, and we're going to glue this yellow one out of the My Colors scraps here to the inside. But first, yeah, I want to round the corners. So let me get my 1/2 inch corner rounder, and I'm going to round the flap, just the top flap, on the two bottom corners, which means I'm going to round the two bottom corners of the patterned paper one. Just going to glue right there. And then this one. to re-ink the corner here where I rounded it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue these on right quick. And we'll keep working on all the different sections with the pattern paper. But I wanted to get this on first because this is what I'm going to wrap my closure string around. So glue this on, burnish it down. And then this piece here on the inside flap. Okay, and now we're ready to go ahead. We'll do the inside here with the dog print that I cut out. It's stuck down with some temporary tape here. Pull this off. Do my glue. Okay. Now this flap here that goes up, we're not going to round the corners on it. So here on the inside goes the yellow mat. And then we flip this up, and then this one goes here. Okay, so there's that inside, I mean, it's the out, not the inside, but it's the outside section. This is the outside section of our folio. This is where the string will go and wrap around. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one loose and set this aside. This is the pocket. I'm going to put the print on the pocket right now, so don't lose it. So remember, this one has the two little hinges on each side. And we'll put that on after we put our pattern on that flap. So we take this one and lace those aside. We'll keep them all together. This goes here, in this section here. Okay, so while we have this one patterned now, let's go ahead and add our little pockets. So this is going to go like this. Now, if you wanted to notch it, you could. For this one, I'm going to just leave it straight. And I'm going to put glue on the bottom, on the one long edge, and then on the two flaps. Okay, so that's going to go right down here. Now you can bring it up a little bit. You can put it flush to the bottom. I'm going to bring it up just about 1/16 of an inch and have a little margin of the pattern paper showing on the outer sides here. Just like this. So there's our pocket. Make sure it's straight. Okay, on that flap. So that flap's in. Let's flip this over because we took that off and do this back side here of the flap. Okay. So this pattern paper goes here. That's where our other pocket's going to go. So for our narrow flap, we have pockets going on. Of course, you can leave it without pockets if that's what you want to do. It's totally up to you how you want to finish off these little flaps. So this is a pocket. I'm going to put this one on here. sew some glue on the bottom edge and on the flaps. And again, I'm going to bring this up about 1/16 of an inch or so from the bottom. So you can see a little bit of the pattern paper on each side and then across the bottom. I have way too much glue, so let me grab something to wipe that off with. Art glitter glue dries clear, so it's a good thing because I'm really messy sometimes with my glue. It's because I don't like to use that fine tip in my bottle because it clogs on me all the time. Okay, so there's that pocket. Now then, on the inside here, we're going to go ahead and put this one down. Remove the temporary tape here. Now I'm keeping this a 1 card sheet, cardstock sheet folio. If you had scraps or you want to take another sheet, you could cut more pockets like for this section here, but I think I'm going to leave it solid. Okay, so now we're going to scoot over here and move some of my paper clips. And this is a flap. So I'm going to lay it right here. And I'm going to put the flap on first. So let's go ahead and put our patterned paper in. So this piece here, I'm going to put right here. So we want to put this flap on before we add our main patterned paper piece here. And then when we flip this up, this is going to be here. Now, if you wanted the animals, you could do that. I'm just going to go with this pattern here. To make sure I'm going the right direction. Of course, your prints are going to be different probably than mine because it depends on how you cut your pattern paper out before for your other projects, or if you're using a totally different pattern paper collection. So this goes here. And now we put glue on the back side of our little hinge. We're going to take it and we're going to put it, fold of the little hinge right along the top edge of our folio flap here. Line it up side to side. Make sure it doesn't hinder the fold here on the left. Wipe off your glue and burnish. Okay, now we have that flipped up. We can go ahead and attach our pattern paper here, and I chose this one with a little rooster on the end. Oh, I have been forgetting to ink my papers. I think it'll be okay, but I am going to ink this one now. Total goof up there. A lot of times I don't ink, so I'm okay with not having ink on everything, but I can go back and ink probably some of these after I've glued them on already. Put this on. Okay. Make sure that's going to fold there. Don't want to hinder that any. This is the outside back, and that's what this piece is for here. So I'm going to open this up and go ahead and put this one in. Let me ink it real quick. Add our glue. So we've got the glue on, and go ahead and put this down. Sunflowers are so pretty in this paper collection. So then we burnish. And now we close that up. So this is the top one like that. So let's see if we've got everything glued in. I believe we do. So that's how our folio is going to look. So we have this on the front. This opens up for that. Then we have this opens this way. We have a pocket here. We have a pocket in here. We have this section. We have this flap that opens up, and then of course it closes down. This is the back side. So now we need to add our string. So let me go ahead and get that cut, and then we'll be ready to do that, and then I'll do the decorating of this off camera. Okay, so I have cut about 46 inches of jute burlap string. You can order this from Country Craft Creations. I'm using the green color. Doesn't give me the name of it. So here around my circle here, I'm going to tie the string on. Bring it up here to the top. So I've got about a 2-inch tail here, and I'm just going to tie this in a knot. Pull it to the eyelet to secure it. So I'm going to tie it again. Pull it as tight as you can so it comes up against that eyelet in there. And then go ahead and trim off this end piece underneath the circle, like that. Now we have the string that we can wrap around several times, like this, and then pull it through the top, or however you want to do that. So I wrap it around once so it's hanging down, and then I'm going to tie it in a knot down here at the bottom. So you could tie a little charm on here if you wanted to. I think I may look and see what we got. From that embellishment kit I had a couple of charms in there. Leaves, I think they would be pretty. So we got that one. Only thing is they're silver, and I used a gold eyelet. So I'm going to look in my stash and see what I have possibly in gold for charm. I know what I've got. Hang on just a second. Okay, so what I have here is these bees metal charms that are Primas. There's 4 in the package. I did get these from Country Craft Creations as a design team package, in with my design team package a couple of months ago. And I haven't worked on a project that I felt that the bees went with. So this, I think, is going to be perfect. So let's open this up and take out a couple, see which ones we want. So this is something you may have also ordered from Country Craft Creations. I'm pretty sure it's no longer available in the store, so I apologize for that, because I picked it up to do a project with some of the spring papers from Country Craft Creations, and then I just haven't had time with my other projects, with some of my special event projects that I did. I just didn't have time to get these the spring ones made. So I still have the charms. And so these are they're gold. They're going to look perfect with this paper here, this little folio. So I've already tied a knot there. Let me see if I want both of these or just one. Let's see here. Let's see if I can slide this one on first. See if it'll go over that knot. So you put your string through and bring it up. Yeah, did just fine. Now then I'm going to take this loose, and I'm going to tie this about right here. There we go. Tie that a couple of times for that charm. Okay. Would have been easier if I hadn't tied that knot. Okay, but we want this tied on really good. Now I'm going to wrap it back around. Okay, so that hangs there. And then I'm going to cut that where that big knot is that I tied. Right there. Cut that off. So there's that one on the end. Like that. And I really like that. That's really pretty. Could have added this one somewhere else, and I may. So I'm going to lay this aside for right now. So this is the assembly of this little one cardstock sheet folio using the scraps from the Home on the Farm paper collection. And I kind of focused in on the sunflower part. I will be adding some decorating, which will include some of the tags and things. You want to keep it kind of flat. It's not something that you can make real bulky inside. But it makes a great little gift. It can be a card folio that you slip into an envelope. You can make a custom envelope for it. So I'm going to go ahead off camera and be decorating mine. And then, of course, I will show you at the end here as I wrap up this tutorial. Here's my finished little folio made out of the one sheet of cardstock using the leftover scraps from my design team package from Country Craft Creations, the Heartfelt Creations Home on the Farm. I used some buttons from the embellishment kit that I had in my designer's package, design team package, as well as used leftovers of the my colors that I used in my last project. So I will link those products down below so that you can check those out at countrycraftcreations.com. I kept the front of this pretty simple. Now this little finished folio measures 4 inches by 5.5. So this could be something you could add into an album or an album page. You would glue the back of it if you wanted to, or make a special envelope for it so that you could give it as a gift. It's a really cute little project. I did, as I shared earlier, add this charm here on the end. And of course, I've added these 3 buttons. So that's all I've done on the front. The back, I just added a cut apart from the collection and inked it with the Wild Honey archival ink, which I used on all the pattern papers and elements here. So to open this up, it's all kept closed with this wrapped string. So let's go ahead and open it up. You just unwrap it, and then you just bring your string around like this. Okay. So the front, you can open it by opening the flap this way, the top flap, and this one on the bottom. And in here, I've added the pattern papers, of course, and I used the yellow cardstock. I'll get the name for you for that. And my colors from Country Craft Creations. It is Sun Glow, I believe. Let me double check to make sure. Yes, Sun Glow. So it's shimmery on one side. I used the flat side. So I added a photo mat here. I added one of the cut aparts with a button. I took a scrap of paper and scallop punched. I used the scallop punch, not the scallop, I used the stub on this one. I used the stub punch side on all my mats here, and then I have another ticket here that I cut it out and added these 2 buttons. So that's that side. So then that flips over, and you can open it like this. So here on the inside, I have where we have a pocket. Now I have not inserted anything in this. I've forgotten. Didn't add anything. I put a decorative mat up here. So that's probably why I didn't add a pocket. I love this image here. A little tiny belly band with a little photo mat behind it, one of the cut aparts. Here on this side, I used the 2-inch scallop punch and then a 1 1/4 inch circle punch to make this element here out of the paper. And then you just lift this up. I did add a magnet, so it's inside here, and then I added it behind this circle punched image here that I added. And you could add a photo if you wanted to. And then this opens up to the left. So I do have a tag in here that I made, and it just tucks in there. Another little photo mat goes under this tuck spot. I added a button here, and a bow, tied in a bow made out of the burlap string. And this here is a tuck spot where you could put a large photo behind that. So that is this little folio. So this tucks in, and this, I'm going to look through my scraps real quick and see about making a tag for that one last little pocket. So I don't like to leave anything unfinished, so I grabbed a scrap. I cut down a little tag. I took two of the stamp images, left them connected, glued them and folded them onto this, offset them. Yellow, from the yellow paper cut, punched out one of the little 3/4 inch circles, punched a hole, added the string, the jute string, and then I tied this bead charm on. And this is going to tuck in like that. Excuse me. And the little bead's going to just kind of hang there, right there. And then now we close it up. And it does give it a little gap, but I'm okay with that because you wrap it, and I just like things that are kind of thick sometimes. That's just the way I like to do stuff. So I'm going to wrap it around and then bring this one around the front. And that is the finished little folio, the one cardstock sheet folio made from scraps of paper. If you don't like yours gapping like that, then don't put any thick things in there like the buttons and stuff, but I like it. And this is my finished little folio. I think it's really cute, be a great gift. So thanks so much for watching. My next project using this paper collection will be using some more of the, got ink all over me, some more of the scraps of paper that I have left. I think I'll be making some cards, maybe some tags, and that will be a speeded up process video. It won't actually be a tutorial, but I will have another final project using this paper collection from Country Craft Creations. So remember to subscribe to my channel. Click the bell if you haven't already, so you'll be notified of my next video. And as always, check out countrycraftcreations.com for your scrapbooking, paper crafting supplies. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.